Aujourd'hui, on va parler d'écriture au Gros Journal. On est à l'atelier Les Mots. C'est un nouvel endroit incroyable qui vient d'ouvrir. Il y a une trentaine d'écrivains qui se sont réunis pour aider d'autres gens à venir ici, écrire, travailler, développer leurs idées, faire des ateliers. Et on reçoit ce soir une légende de l'écriture, John Truby, qui a écrit ce livre, L'Anatomie du scénario. C'est le livre à lire si on veut se mettre à écrire des films. Tout y est. Et croyez-moi, je suis très très fier d'avoir cet invité-là parce que tous les scénaristes du monde entier ont au moins assisté à une de ces conférences. Regardez, c'est maintenant dans le Gros Journal. Hi.
Good to see you.
Welcome in Paris.
It's so good to be back.
I have a very simple question for you. What is your job?
My main job is to work as a story consultant or story doctor. And what that job entails is that you get a script that's already been written. And I'm brought in because my expertise is in story. How do you tell a good story? So I look at the script and then I give them recommendations for how to change the script so the story can get better.
Very simple question too. What is the best scenario of all time? What is the best story ever written? The Bible?
Well, the Bible would have to be up there. The story that changed my life, that got me involved in cinema, was Seven Samurai from Japan. And I saw that and it just, you know, it changed everything. And I said, I want to do that. And so I want to be involved in that.
Are you agree with me if I tell you that to me, Rocky from Sylvester Stallone is a great scenario?
It is a great scenario, absolutely. It's surprisingly good.
The joy is really ours. Adrian, I can't believe you've done this. The pain.
Don't worry about nothing. You just sleep as long as you want, okay?
People look at it and they think, well, it's just this simple little sports story, a boxing story about a guy who's, you know, he's kind of a bum.
Because to me, there is everything in the Rocky scenario.
Yeah.
The drama, the tension, the beats.
Yeah. Well, but what's interesting to me is if you look under the surface to see how it really works, you see that it's actually a little more complicated than it appears. Because it's not a simple sports story. It's actually a combination of two genres, sports and love story. If it's just a boxing story, not that good. If it's just a love story, not that good. But you put them together in a way that we haven't seen before, which is what he did, you've got a great film.
As a script doctor, I think that a lot of scenarists are calling you. What is the most frequent problem that they have?
The biggest problem that I find writers have all over the world, if they're trying to write a scenario, is they don't give the hero a strong goal. Having a strong goal, a very clear desire of what the character wants in that story, is the most important thing to a popular story. Not a good story, but a popular story. And that's because the desire, the goal of the hero, provides the spine of the story. That's the backbone of the story. And you hang every other story element onto that spine. So if you don't have a strong spine, everything collapses.
Can you talk to me about the myths of the traveling angel? What is it?
Traveling angel story.
You're telling that this is one of the key of the success international to make a movie.
The basic idea of the traveling angel story is that you have a community in trouble. It's typically a town or even a family that is in trouble. And from the outside comes this traveling angel. This is a character who is perfect in some way. And they enter the town and they help all of the different people in the town solve their personal problem, and then move on to the next town. Traveling Angel is a form of comedy. And it happens to be a form of comedy that the French do better than anyone else in the world. It's one of the ways that whenever the French do a Traveling Angel story, it's a worldwide success. So, for example, you have Amélie, Chocolat, Intouchable, even Bienvenue des Ch'tis.
Yeah.
I don't know why the French are better at this form than any other country.
It's because the French have Omar Sy, and not the American.
But
he's in the US, but you know, we have Omar Sy.
You know, Untitled Chapter was an excellent example. This, you know, is the most recent, really popular French traveling angel story, and is an example of what I was talking earlier about, of taking a genre, but then twisting it in a way that does it in a way that we've never seen before. And that combination is incredibly powerful.
How do you explain that the Star Wars movie, who can be watched as movie with a shitty scenario, are great? Like every time they say something, it's like a religion.
Well, the Star Wars phenomenon is quite a complex phenomenon, even though, again, it's one of those stories that...
Are you agree with me?
Oh, absolutely.
Because when you say to somebody, there is a princess and some guy, you're going to save it,
right.
Okay?
Right.
But every time they say something, it has so many sense.
Star Wars was really the beginning of this worldwide movement that I've been talking about. It was the first film. Because what it did was it took myth stories, various myth stories, and genres from around the world, including the samurai story, and it put them all together into one story. It was the first time it ever happened. And what the studios realized with that film is that if you could put together certain genres that have worldwide appeal, especially these myth stories, that transcend cultural boundaries, then you could have a worldwide success. And ever since then, Hollywood is not interested in making movies for American audiences anymore, because that's a big audience, but it's not as big as the world audience.
Give me your top 5.
Top 5
movies, scenarios
of all time?
Yeah.
Well, I would say Seven Samurai. I would say The Usual Suspects.
It didn't make sense that I'd be there. I mean, these guys were hardcore hijackers. But there I was. At that point, I wasn't scared. I knew I hadn't done anything they could do me for. Besides, it was fun. I got to make like I was notorious.
Fantastic.
Maître Kobayashi. Bon.
Yeah, to me, that's the greatest crime story in the last 20 years.
I'm agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's excellent. I would say The Godfather.
Yeah. Part 1, 2, or 3?
Part 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people say Part 2, but I believe that Part 1 is the greater film.
And nobody say Part 3.
No, nobody says Part 3. Nobody says Part 3. A film that I talk about in my class a lot is American Beauty, which I think is a master class in its own in terms of how to write a great script. And another is a classic that I talk about also, which is Vertigo.
Last question. One French movie.
The French movie that had the most effect on me is Grand Illusion.
Voilà.
Again, a master class in writing.
I agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Merci beaucoup.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure too. C'était une légende du scénario. Je vous conseille d'aller lire son livre. Vraiment, vraiment, vraiment. Si vous voulez un jour savoir comment même comprendre un film, écrire une histoire, il faut lire son livre, revoir cette interview sur clique.tv en version longue. On se retrouve demain à la même heure sur Canal+. C'était le Gros Journal avec John Truby et je peux vous dire que je suis très très fier. Thank you very much.
Thank you.